My name is Tina Brooks and I'm a musician. I'm a singer and pianist, a teacher, conductor, arranger and composer, as well as an ethnomusicologist. My earliest memories of music are hearing music in church and seeing my mother singing in the senior choir at church, and lots of singing for children and taking part in song service, just singing, being part of a group called the Young Generation, which is a huge choir for children and young people. I also remember at home having a very old organ where you had to pedal to get sound out. And I remember having piano lessons on that, and I remember being very excited when we actually had a real piano where you could press the note, hear it, and not have to pedal. Those are my earliest memories of music as a child. My husband was relocated to two churches, one in Cambridge, one in Harlow, and we chose to move closer to the Cambridge church. And my children went to a Church of England school, and it was a great school. They were very happy. It was a very secure school with a very strong Christian ethos. And I wanted to be able to give something back to the school and help them raise money. So I offered my services to run a choir rehearsal for a gospel choir. So 50 people from the school and from the community came together to sing for the evening. And they made a very good sound. So we tried it again a few months later. And then I asked them, would they be interested in doing 4 rehearsals and then a performance? That way their family and friends could come and hear them sing. And they said, okay, we think we'll be good enough. So we tried it, and it was very, very successful. Hall was full. They raised money for the school. But the choir participants and the audience loved it so much they wanted to do it again and again and again. So we've so far run about 10 singing projects over the last 5 years, and the choir's still going strong. It has between 50 and 70 members, and we do at least 2 concerts every year to raise money for the school and to raise money for another charity. Sometimes it's scary because you get to rehearsals and what sounded great last week doesn't sound great today, and you think, how's this going to sound in a concert? The advantage, of course, is that I have my back to the audience, so that helps me to be less scared, I have to admit. But when everybody rehearses and it comes together in rehearsals, you know, way before the final before the final dress rehearsal, then it's actually quite an amazing privilege to be a conductor, because you get to take all of these people on a journey, and they start off thinking, I don't know this, don't know how it's going to sound, I'm not sure I can sing alto, and then you train them, you work with them, you exemplify how you want them to sound, and they try their best to copy and imitate, and at the end we always have a great performance. So when the band comes up from London and they're thinking it's going to just be okay, they listen and they think, wow, they sound great. So yeah, it's a privilege being a conductor. A typical day at home with children and instruments is Melody playing in her room, practicing Vivaldi on her violin, and Jasper in his room practicing his grade 5 pieces on his violin, and Kyle, my youngest, in the kitchen with me practicing on his violin, because I need to keep an eye on him because he's very easily distracted. And sometimes we all come together and all 4 of us play together, because we also perform in an orchestra masterclass and we have to know our pieces before the orchestra knows it. So sometimes we all play together. And occasionally we get the cello out, and one of us, usually me or my daughter, plays the cello, so at least I would get a guaranteed seat that way. So I play cello, they play violin. Sometimes we play at church and we have to practice at home in the living room. There's no space for anyone to sit down, it's just all chairs and violins and cellos and music stands. Essence of worship. That brings to mind the real meaning, the real purpose for worship? And what are the things that bring that about? Is it singing? Is it drama? Is it scripture reading? Is it a sermon? For me, it's all of those things, and it's at its most powerful when all those different items are linked together into one message that takes a journey, and then the sermon ties it all together. Then you get the one message all the way throughout, and that to me is the essence of worship. I think God is pleased with music that comes from the heart. And certainly I know that we're influenced by what's around us, by what we're used to hearing. And that's different for different people in different parts of the world. So I don't think there is one particular kind of music that's more pleasing to God. I think once it comes from our heart and it's a genuine sense of worship, that's what God is pleased with. There are three worships that I remember in particular that really stood out in my mind and actually brought me to tears. Two of them took place in an Adventist church and one in a non-Adventist but Christian church. And it was a service where every item was linked to this one theme, to this one story, and it took a journey, and the music was beautifully delivered and tied together really well, and it linked into the children's story and into some drama, into a scripture reading, which wasn't just read, but it was, delivered with purpose and excitement. And then the sermon just brought it all home, and by the end I was in tears, because it had been done so beautifully and so genuinely. Those three experiences really stand out in my mind as, for me, my best worship experiences. One of my favourite hymns is Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. And I love that hymn because I think it's so beautifully written. I think the way the melody is constructed just allows so much scope for expression as you're singing it. Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy praise. La 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 la. Worship. Opera. Rehearsal. Singing. Harmony. Inspiration. Perfect worship.